This is the PGL Europe Minor Championship 2017, part of the road to the Krakow Major in 2017, the second major of the year, of course. And can Astralis defend their title? We'll find out in a couple of, well, nearly a month away, actually, before we get there. We're still searching for our 3 teams from Europe to join the offline finals. 16 teams go battling ahead for 8 more spots in the major itself. We're into Group B today. We've had our opening matchup, and it went the way we thought it would, if not a little tight. We're now going to move on to our second matchup. This one could be quite spicy. LDLC versus Dignitas. We've got Sadakist and Thorin back at the desk with us to join us. Matt, this could be a good one, couldn't it?
Yeah, this could be. So the thing is, at the start of the show, we talked about 3 teams. We didn't mention Dignitas.
Nope.
When you look on paper, they're actually the team that you'd go, oh, so much skill. That's the best team here. But because they're so new in their inception, they're really not playing well as a team right now. They've already made changes. Michael Lely, another project for him that he gets removed from, poor guy. And LDLC, on the other hand, you already mentioned it. Not a lot of star power, but tremendous experience, great leadership from Existence. Alex is coming into his own, maybe could take that star role for them, but they're, of all the teams here, they're the most structured probably of anyone.
Absolutely. Let's start with Dignitas first. I know Doran's itching to talk about his old mate, but we'll start with Dignitas. They've had a ropey old time because they've only really played qualifiers so far.
Yeah.
They played in all 3 of the first 3 open qualifiers to get into the closed qualifier. It took them 3 attempts to get through. They lost to a couple of very, I would say, without being too rude, random teams that we wouldn't expect them to lose to. Finally get through to the closed qualifier, then come through that relatively straightforward. And when you look at this lineup, you think, wow, this is established players. You've got Fox in here who's played, at a very high level this K at the start of the year, obviously at E-League. You've got Rubinho's tons of experience. Jacob, fantastic player. And even Tensky as well. Got plenty of experience in there. Kremen may be the newer guy of the 5. But this is a team that you would expect on paper, as Matt said, to be breezing through a tournament like this.
Yeah, and especially because, one of the bizarre things about Dignitas, obviously, is they're one of those teams that actually has a spot in ECS, while, the Navis of the north of the world actually aren't in ECS. And if you go and look at some of their games, even the games they're losing in ECS are pretty close. They've actually been doing pretty well for such a new lineup. But yeah, in the qualifiers online for the tournaments, it's been very up and down. And obviously the past lineup, that's why they had to make those drastic changes, because that lineup just was not working at all. And so one of the problems in this team is you've got all these established names, but a lot of them have switched up their roles. They're having to play with a very different kind of composition as well, So I feel like there's still a lot to be figured out there. But I think the timing is right, in as much as they're starting to get it together coming into now. Their big problem is they're one of the only teams at this tournament where this is their first LAN entirely for this lineup,
Yeah.
The LDLCs of the world, Penta, these teams are all established, They've been to LANs with these lineups. In general, the experience player-wise is good for Dignitas, but as a team, it's non-existent.
Yeah, and they've also got the international challenge that Penta have, which we've already heard Sonny talking about, this English thing where they have to all speak in English suddenly. And it's not just a case of, well, we can all speak English so we can do it, but there are things on maps that change, strategies that change. And he said earlier, I thought it was really key from Sonny, when you're in the heat of the moment in the middle of a retake, it doesn't come to you naturally in English all the time.
The thing,
it's
right?
much tougher.
It's like, wow. Family show,
seconds.
but it's like when you're in the heat of the moment and you slip out your own mother tongue. Yeah, it is hard to translate when you're really panicking.
Never had that close a relationship, mate.
Well,
fair.
I have not with his mum
just
anyway.
get a peck on the cheek,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I know in Canada, you're very passionate
open.
people.
We
Very
are
friendly.
expressionate, especially in Quebec. We won't go there.
Right. Let's move on to our opponents in this particular one. It is Existence boys, the youngsters with the old man himself. Obviously, we have a man on our desk who
sounds like us, me and Thorin over here.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest,
he has a soft spot for Kevin.
Okay. He's a pretty good in-game leader. Yeah. No, the thing is, obviously, someone with a lot of experience in CS Source and even in CSGO from the very beginning of the game, at the top of the game. And the key thing is, a lot of people do overly put him in the stereotype of everything has to be precise in game leader. And that is something that I did an interview with Maniac, actually, when he just joined this lineup. He said that has softened a lot, because... Right. Essentially, that doesn't also work if you don't have the good enough players. So you got to have some give and take on that. So he's the guy where you think of him in the old general role, where everything has to be his way, and he set up all the tactics. There's still an element of that, and obviously the inexperience of these players means he can sometimes make a decision on their behalf, which will make them better players than if you put them out there. But as you get players who have some skill, you have to give them a little bit of autonomy. I think that is the lesson he's learned over the last couple of years, and so. At this point in time, it was very easy for people to criticise him when he was on the outs and Envious was on the ascendancy, you know. But you look at where Happy is, he's in the same tournament right now. A bunch of good players over there. I think there's a lot of rebuilding to be done in the French-Belgian scene in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got Maniac on there.
Well, that's where I was going to go with this, because Maniac and Existence actually came to difference when the whole Titan thing happened and they removed Maniac. And then originally, this was supposed to be Maniac's team. LDLC had already approached Maniac, said, no, you got this. And then all of a sudden, Existence came available, and they said, no, Maniac, we don't want you. We want Existence. That boiled blood, I think, even more. Exactly. There was a huge rivalry between the two of them, and Maniac was, last year at Minsk, he was actually on the desk with us, and then he was coaching Envy. That didn't work out for him, and it looked like he was done. He took time off in his career. Apparently, they've patched things up, and they've done it for the better of the team, and now he's back. And he's another player coming from Titan, just like Existence, that has a wealth of experience that can be shared with these players, which is great, because Twanu, coming over from the previous LDLC, very inexperienced, can be a flashy player, but really needs to be put in the right role, and same with Miss 2. Yeah. So, Miss 2, I think that's right. Yeah.
And the one we haven't mentioned, which we should mention, because we rarely get to talk about British players, is Alex. I know there's an element of massive French on his side because he's moved there obviously with his parents, but he's born and bred in Britain. We've actually got a player who we can cheer for.
And the thing is, for me, that's one of the things that really actually has shown on this latter end of his career, the quality of an in-game leader like Existence. It's the two players, XMS now and Envious, and Alex, because these are the two players where within their teams, you never heard those names before when they were playing for the LDLCs of the world, etc. People did say, oh, it's Devil and it's maybe this body guy. Maybe they could one day do it. Everyone used to purposely say, oh, there's not much talent in those teams. That's the problem, it's only the top end of the French scene. Well, we've seen both of them. XMS was really starting to come on before he went to Envious, but now, with more space opened up again in the lineup, Alex has really started to blossom as a player now. And crucially, he's not just a player who it's off aim, he actually has a pretty good kind of role in the game. He seems to fit it. And also, seems to be, that's one of the things I like about the LDLC team. They seem very suited to Existence, actually. They really do have that mindset of, like, he's the veteran, he's the one who has all the knowledge, so if he kind of tells us something, we got to accept that that's the way it is, There's not a lot of pushback in that sense. So I feel like they've got a kind of a healthy learner's attitude.
I mean, there are some similarities with the way that Very Games started off winning in CS Source when Existence was their team leader, and they had I wouldn't say an unknown team, but they weren't tested. They weren't tried and tested. And he molded that team. He made that team what it was, and
people
massive
forget,
winners.
how many of those players were very young in those? Like nowadays, you take it for granted, like an MBK is a veteran, It's like a 16-year-old kid or something.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you had the Kenny S at the end of Source, So, he Shocks in his younger days. I mean, it's not like he was always just working with the stars, because obviously the time when Very Games became the best was the French scene moving up, Before that, they weren't the best. So, he's obviously someone where the big problem is you can't not think of Existence now as a guy who's at the very top of the scene and with all the star players. You're used to thinking him in that role, but he's kind of gone back to his roots in this sense, and he's trying to, if not become a top team again, because I don't know how realistic that is, at least work with the next generation and get them on the right track again. Think how many scenes, the Norwegian scene, the Finnish scene, everyone's complaining, the old pros left, they never kind of passed on their knowledge. That's one thing you've got to admire, that he's actually staying in the trenches, with the young guys,
to be fair,
molding them.
Yeah, to be fair, people gave Fetish a lot of slack for being a terrible T-side leader back when Dignitas, then TMS became, the team that they were struggling on T-sides under Fetish. When he left, they brought in different in-game leaders and fixed that. But Fetish is a player that is responsible for a lot of the development we're seeing in the Danish team, because he did originally take a lot of those players under his wing. And I think it's a very good point that someone like Existence is doing that, because North America already struggles with in-game leaders. We're seeing a lot of flashy kids come up and don't really have the fundamentals. That can happen everywhere. At least people are, coming up through that scene, but without anyone to point them in the right direction, they're going to go awry and astray. They'll end up like UK.
Well, God help us. We've sung his praises, but at the same time, has he and his team got what it takes to get through this group? Because they're going to need to get out of this group to start with. If they do get out of the group, they've got a reasonably good shot at getting to the offline finals, and that would be a good achievement.
Here's the thing. I do think, actually, the fact that there's the third spot for the overall qualifier gives them a better chance, because Envious and Big are the clear favourites on paper. They not only do they have such great experience, but they have the star players as well. That's the key element to me. Like, whenever you get teams where it's like, okay, I've got a really good team. Like, I've got a team that's about as good, but I've got the star player. That can always be the difference maker. We know a star player can take over a half, So I think that is the tough part for LDLC. You don't really look at Alex and Twanu and say, like, they're going to be the MVP of the tournament, even if LDLC goes far. So I think it's going to rely on the team element in that sense. They're going to have to get their good maps. They're going to have to execute well, which has always been kind of the Existence MO. not sure what was going on in that guy's neck right there. I think he just burned himself a little bit or something, you know. When
I had razor burn yesterday.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's weird how that goes. Why has he got it on his knees as well? Who knows, you know. You never know what goes on in these boot camps, you know.
Duncan.
Very continental kind of flavour. No, that's the thing, though. I feel like they're going to live and die as a team in this sense. You know, I'm not looking at any particular one player and saying this guy has to step up or be the star player. But I think as a team, they've got the rhythm, they've got the routine in that respect. And that's an advantage they do have over a lot of the other teams here. There's not many other people who are the set in-game leader style who's got so much experience. Because obviously, as we mentioned before, Existence could be in Envious right now. They could be stacking up all the players there. So you've got someone who's overqualified to be on your team in that respect. You've got to go that route. You've got to emphasize whatever your strengths are, whether it's a star player, in-game leader. I mean, over on Dignitas' side, they had one of the best support players in Rubino, you know. So you've got to figure out what your strengths are and emphasize that when you're at the lower level and you don't have the complete team.
Okay, hearing that the veto is ready. So let's have a look at the maps. And the choice of map will be Train on this one.
Yeah, this is a bit of a dodgy one, I have to say, because if you go and look online and on LAN, Train hasn't really been a very kind map to LDLC. This is one that actually they lose most of the time. Meanwhile, you go over on the other side of the equation, it's not that great a map for Dignitas either, but it's more in the middle for them. I mean, the bizarre thing about this one is these two teams don't really have that much overlap, but they have a couple. Like, you know, they both play a bit of Overpass, a bit of Cash, and yet you look in the equation here, it's actually LDLC that's banning out Cash. That's actually a pretty good map for them. So actually, I suspect this is one where, again, you always have to think this, okay, if an intelligent in-game leader who has a lot of experience and knows how to scout purposely kind of shifts the map veto in his opponent's favor in terms of stats, that nearly always tells you they wanted that guy to pick them up. Like they know, right, well, since it's in your favor, you're going to pick it if I give you the chance. Therefore, I'm planning specifically for that. So I'd have to assume you know that you're playing this opponent. That's got to be on your mind, and you've got to think to yourself, it's not that great a map for them anyway. I've got something planned here. And I have to say, the interesting thing was, actually, Train historically, when he was in Very Games, was the map famously they used to permaban. They never played this map. But at the end of G2, it was actually one of the maps that they embraced and became one of their better ones.
Interestingly, they did meet in the closed qualifier as well. It was a 16-10 win for Dignitas on Overpass, but Dignitas banned that. So maybe they're like, they might have figured this out on that. They might have prepped for that, thinking that we wanted to play it again.
Well,
so
that's also
double mind games.
This is also the bizarre aspect of the psychology, isn't it? Is that when you have these teams, it could be like we had with the iGame Pent again. They're like, oh, well, we're both got Inferno. Let's agree. Let's just play that map. But sometimes people want to go the other route. Oh, well, we'll go to one where we're both not as good. And therefore, in this sense, you know, maybe my team's tactics and my scouting is going to beat yours. You've got to look where your strengths lie in that sense. So it's a gamble, certainly.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, if you look into it in that way, I think that best of one, taking those gambles aren't necessarily the best thing, unless they themselves thought that they played Overpass last time, it wasn't a good map for them, and if they banned it out, that's one that... So if they thought, okay, they lost on it, they're going to ban it for us. If they ban it first, it maybe leaves something else open that they want to meet on, but I think Train's interesting as well because it's a very conflicted map in its playstyle. You can get some very serious execution with smokes down, which, interestingly enough, Happy was one of the first guys to exploit and be positive about. I remember talking to him when they first introduced this train before they actually put it in the map pool, and I thought, this is awful. Like, I hated it at first. I thought this is such a different style of map, and Happy was the first guy that actually said to me, like, no, this is actually really good if you use smokes correctly. But at the same time, it's really flashy. And I actually think a guy like Fox, getting rolling with the AWP, can play into that style to some extent, especially in the outer site, where there's so many different little angles. You've got hits where you can watch all the way into A main. You've got Alley, you've got Ivy, you've got so many different positions that he can actually, if he's a little bit dynamic and get on his roll, can shut them down if they're loose on the execution.
I mean, if you remember, in the really old phase days, before there were a team ever making the playoffs, that used to be the one bizarre thing they had on Train. They would run like triple ops. You know, they had Makalele, they had him. You know, they really would exploit that a lot, and especially the outside site was where they always locked down. You know.
Yeah, well, so that's the point. So if they are sloppy on smokes, if the execution's not there, then I actually think Dignitas could steal this away from them on that alone, just because they'll capitalize every time there's a gap.
Okay, let's bring in our commentary team right now. They're almost ready for us to get underway in our second matchup. What are you looking forward to, H's?
Is that our new nickname now, the H's?
Well, you're H2O, aren't you?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
That's probably the freshest we've heard.
Henry doesn't really like the waters, though. He typically drinks something else, if I'm honest.
What are you alluding to, Matthew?
Well, a good old G&T maybe instead of the H2O.
That's true. I wouldn't mind that. I had one this morning.
Ginger and tea.
That actually works. You know what? Why has no one ever called us G&T? We got Greer and Trivet.
That's good.
Wow.
That's a revelation. Let's go with that.
G&T. See, from something bad comes something good.
Well, there we go. Yeah, this is a strange one for me. I've never watched the Dignitas guys before. I'm looking forward to it. Train the star-studded lineup, you would assume they'd be better on paper, but I actually like LDLC as a package. I think they're a well-rounded unit. So
yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it, to see how this one pans out. Anyway, enjoy it. Take it away.
Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see what happens. LDLC, I've casted them a few times in Pro League, up and down. When Maniac came into lineup, I didn't expect too much from him. I thought he was going to be really quiet. Like, I think he had his heyday, but he's actually been relatively good pickup for them and having some big performances.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the two that I really like in there are Tuano and Misto, the two with kind of a similar name. I remember watching both of those players separately on separate occasions in TWC. Probably about 5-6 months ago now, maybe a little bit more than that. And I always thought, they had a lot of potential. I would have loved to see them get picked up. And then the second I see them bought into LDLC, I was thinking maybe we could have seen something great here. Now, I think they've been doing well, considering that they're kind of this team of players who have kind of been around for a long time, and a couple of them, like you said, who the kind of perception is that, they've had their time to shine, and it's somewhat gone past them. And then they've been put into a team of kind of old boys and a mixture of new talent as well. And I think they've done, quite a lot with it, in all honesty.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. We call Envy as potentially the scraps of the revolution, right? But this really is. They keep getting wrecked every single time these players, the big boys change up. They lose their star players, but they always seem to recover, like after losing players like XMS, for example, they seem to come back and think, okay, well, we'll have to pick someone else up. And Alex as well, another player that I guess no one really expected that much of, I guess mainly because of his British flag.
Yeah,
no one assumed he would be that great, but he's actually turned out to be a real good aim star. Like, not in terms of like real cerebral plays and anything crazy like that, but in terms of raw aim and talent, he's definitely got bucket loads of that. And he's had a really good Pro League season. That's when he really came onto my radar. There's Fox, of course, quite a controversial CS player as a whole, like had his ups and downs in his career. In FaZe, I think that was like a disappointing part of his career, right? The team was okay. They normally have good group stages and they go in the playoffs, but he was kind of stifled almost. He was put into that kind of classic support role, which is fun. I actually think he did a good job of that. I think he got a bit of a bad rep there generally. I think like he obviously was used to being a superstar player within the Portuguese teams and the main AWPA, and normally did pretty well. Then kind of being locked down to the support player, just doing what had to be done, right? Kind of. So I always thought he was decent, especially on train. I'm interested to see whether like I said, I'll admit I've never watched Dignitas in this current form. I think they've only played in this kind of run up to the minor, right? They've done the qualifiers. And this is their first event.
Yeah, I think we saw them in ECS Season 3 as well, but that's really been it.
That clashes with the stuff I've been doing. So I haven't had a chance to watch that. But I'm interested. I'm kind of happy the first time I get to see them is when I'm casting them as well. I can really kind of look down and see what they've been up to. Obviously, you've got the likes of Jacob, Fox, Rubino as well, kind of bringing the band back together. Rubino, very good player as well. Yeah, I've always kind of found him akin to like body. Like he's always great at finding one or two frags per round and managing to kind of bring the round in this team's favor. Nothing too flashy, but just enough to just be a decent CS player. Well-rounded, I think, would be a good term for him. And in terms of this matchup, so Dignitas versus LDLC. I'm going to say I think LDLC will be the better team overall. I think Dignitas have got a higher skill ceiling generally. Like to Jacob as well. He is a world-class player. But I know, Train is like, we looked at the statistics going into this one. Like, it's a map that LDLC like to play. Don't necessarily have that much success in it, though, right?
Yeah, especially recently. And I think that's because they played it a good bit in Pro League. We kind of saw it crop up a lot there. And I mean, the fact that they like to play it a good bit suggests to me that clearly they have got some strategies on this map. And, there is one that they're fairly well practiced on. It's just maybe those don't compare to some of the other teams we've seen them play against. And then when you kind of look over at Dignitas, it's one that they usually tend to try and shy away from. We don't really kind of have the best sort of idea of their map pool, given that they haven't necessarily been competing at like a very high level for all that long. The thing is, I mean, even when you look at how they kind of came into this through the qualifiers, it took them a very long time to even actually make it through. I would say probably their best victory we saw them get was a 16-2 win versus Space Soldiers on Inferno. And, of course, Space Soldiers are one of the teams that everyone kind of expected to see actually make it here, right?
A bit of a wild card right now, aren't they? They seem to be up and coming, finding great results left, right, and centre. It's a shame they haven't made it here, though. They qualified for ESL 1 Cologne, but not this event.
I was very gutted to see them, fall short of making it here, especially because coming into this, I mean, they looked really good all throughout the qualifiers. Then they get into their game versus Dignitas, right? And you have to understand, I can't remember who they played prior, but they come off of a huge victory on their part up against one of the main contenders to kind of, one of the teams who I figured, could have potentially beat Space Soldiers. So they were looking on fire. They go into the game versus Dignitas. The map is Inferno. And that's one that now Dignitas have actually gone on to create, kind of get the feel of being one of their home maps almost.
Okay.
They go into it, and then they get 16-2'd by them
That's
on
nuts,
it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, which, considering the fact that at this point, I would say Dignitas were a team that people were still judging quite harshly. the actual performance we saw was phenomenal.
Do we feel like Dignitas are contenders for the #1 spot in this group? After what we saw this morning, Penta won the game, right? But I wouldn't say it was a convincing victory.
Yeah.
Dignitas going against LDLC. I think if you look on paper, the names look great, right? Like every player there, apart from Croman for me, I'm not familiar with him. But all the other guys look like they're well-versed in CS. They've got a lot of experience, especially towards top echelons as well. You feel like they've got to be hot favorites to the group. LDLC, I'd say just beneath them. Just like I said, I think they're a better team. But if Dignitas can turn up the way I know they can do potentially, they should be running away this group. But we did say that about Envious yesterday.
Yeah, that's
and
very
look
true.
what happened there. That was a bit of a nightmare for them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for someone like you, and I guess a lot of other people are kind of in a similar situation, maybe haven't seen Dignitas all that much. When you look at the individual's name on paper, each player there clearly does have that very high skill ceiling and can achieve on an individual basis. Croman, the one who you kind of said that you haven't really seen much from, based on what I've seen, I would say that he is an extremely talented player, one who I think brings a lot of kind of consistency to the team. When we saw him in that game versus Space Soldiers, I know that he was doing very well, but then again, everyone on the team was, so it's not really like there was too much to take away from that. I'm just very much excited to see how they do fare versus LDLC, because I feel like these two names, based on what we saw from Penta, are kind of the two that I'm looking to contend for that top spot. So, it is going to be interesting to see, really. And I think the outcome of this game could really affect who we actually see make it through, into the next stage, because I think these are arguably the two kind of harder hitters out of Group B. Yeah,
well, Group A was very interesting yesterday. I love the fact we went straight out the trap with a huge upset. Like the Ballistics taking out Envious. Like, no one really saw that coming. I thought going to this tournament, like, at the Americas minor, right, we didn't have a single upset, really. Like, everything was pretty par for the course. Like, a few close games, some overtime chucked in there, but every result pretty much came in. We had 2-0s across the board, apart from the final. No one really kind of upset in terms of, like, the results. And it was like, okay, well, we've got the teams we kind of expected. Immortals and Cloud9, just to be clear there. And going to this one, I thought the same thing as well. But after that result from Envious, like, they really didn't rise to the occasion. That was a subpar team. Like, someone who's just had a really good event at the ESL Pro League Finals as well. Judging by that, what we were expecting by them and the finished result they got, I think they were looking great. Coming into an event like this, you'd thought Envious would run away with it. So that's why I say a bated breath. That's why I'm also excited to say I haven't watched Dignitas yet. I get to watch them now. I can probably kind of analyze what they're doing, how they're kind of gelling as a unit. It's been only, 2 months with this current lineup? So it's difficult to imagine their map pool can go that deep, really. It takes a long time to get really solidified on certain maps. Like you said, Inferno sounds really good for them. So that's presumably like 2-3 weeks worth of work, and we'll see whether Train comes into the equation as well.
And, one of the real issues, I think, when you look at these two teams coming into the matchup is that I would say Dignitas' best maps are either Mirage or Inferno. And Mirage is one of the instant bans for LDLC. So, I mean, that was already kind of immediately off the cards. Inferno is one that LDLC are, also opt to play a good bit, or at least they have done as of late. So, that one could have potentially snuck on through. But I just think based on what LDLC saw come out from Dignitas, it didn't really make a lot of sense for that to be left in. Overpass is one that Dignitas really don't want to be playing. It's one that we've already seen LDLC kind of breeze past them on, and it's one that in the qualifier, LDLC opted to play a hell of a lot and had loads of success on. And I just think when we looked at it, especially in the qualifier, it was clear that Dignitas have a bit of an affinity on Mirage. It was one that they tried to get as often as they could. They got it 3 times, and that's where the majority of their wins were. So good stuff.
So we are slightly delayed here. I think we have a couple of issues joining the server. But it's Dignitas microphone I can hear. So that's happening. So I think we've got some fun stuff coming up. We're going to ask some questions. We're going to see how you can handle yourself on the fly.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
So here we go then. Is there a place for low fragging in-game leaders like Godby and Existence in Tier 1 CS? Oh, that is a good question. I wouldn't say Existence is a low fragging in-game leader right now. I think he's actually pretty decent overall. Godby, I would say he definitely falls in that category.
Yeah, I mean, he can have some strong. Yeah, it's not
starting
well. Yeah, he can have some strong performances. I mean, other examples, I guess, would be someone like Pronax, who I guess kind of in his heyday was very much fell into that category. In all honesty, I'm not that much of a fan of them in particular as of late. It's just I feel like that when you look at it, there are a lot of other IGLs who do just as well and who can put the numbers up. So I mean, it is tricky to try and find someone who can kind of get you the best of both worlds.
As a former in-game leader myself, I just don't buy into the whole idea because he's the in-game leader. It's fine that he doesn't really frag. If the team's winning, sure. But if he's consistently right at the bottom of the scoreboard, not really contributing, looking weak, and they're saying, but he does all these great strategies, I say, that's great. maybe though we need to find someone that can do both, because you want to be a world-class team. The question is, you want to be tier 1. I don't think that's good enough anymore. I think that the game's evolved to a state that we can't rely solely on individuals. Like, if you think about Fnatic and Pronax that you brought up, like, they had the world's best player at their disposal, right? And everyone's saying, like, he's this really acclaimed in-game leader and stuff, but you have to remember he had Flush at the highest performing major player statistically of all time, got Olaf Meister in the peak of his career as well. That's when they had that amazing run. And if you've got that at your disposal, it's not like, sure, he must have been very good at the in-game leading stuff, but still, like, he could afford to drop off a little bit. I think generally, for me, in-game leaders, they do need to keep up with their team. You think of some of the most notable names in that respect, like Fallen obviously comes to mind. He's the in-game leader and a massive fragger for his team, performs very well. And I think that's what you're looking for. So God B, just to go back to that specific question, I think at this tier CS is absolutely fine because he brings the tactical game, a lot of experience that these teams potentially can't handle. He knows how to utilize his players to the very best of their ability. And in that sense, he's worth his weight in gold because he can get the most out of his star players, like Tabson, for example. Like, he lights up the scoreboard.
Especially because kind of up until now, Tabson really never hit that sort of same skill ceiling. So that's a very good kind of example there with Godby.
And then generally, I don't think that's going to be good enough getting to the top tier. They're never going to be a world-beating team with that. I think Godby's an okay player, like it's fine, but once he brings the team is great, but I don't think he's going to be good enough to kind of say, if they get to that point where they're saying, right, we're really close to actually winning events there, something is not quite clear. Maybe that's the choice you need to make. But that looks like we're all the questions we have for now. We do have a few more issues, so instead of us rabbiting on, we're going to throw it to a quick break, and we'll be back very soon with LDLC versus Dignitas.
Go so well last year in the major qualifier, but we're looking to change that this year.
如果我们晋级了 Minor 线下总决赛的话，我觉得我们应该会去欧洲先集训1周左右。
We're going to be practicing every day and focusing all of our resources on that. And obviously, the goal is to qualify for the major, so I think that would be probably one of the biggest tournaments of the year for us.
Кэмп проходил в городе Киев. Мы готовились к этому турниру в течение 2 месяцев. Достаточно плотные тренировки, ну, как бы тяжелый график.
Мы даже не считаем, что мы там лучше кого-то играем. Мы будем играть, просто стараться в свою игру и не думать о том, что мы там что-то выигрывали в прошлый раз, где-то хорошо выступали. Это не важно, потому что сейчас совсем другой турнир, ну и команда совсем по-другому подготавливается к этому турниру.
This is incredibly sneaky from Skadoodle now. He's going to be walking forward. A couple of seconds left. He goes for the shot, and it's a headshot. And Cello is down. Oh, no. Skadoodle has got no heart at all. He gets the last kill as well. Steals the round.
We have a lot of tournaments coming up, but I think after Cologne, I think we will be boot camping in Europe.
That's so difficult.
That's a kill. Yep.
Could see it coming, couldn't you?
Yeah, Ethan was too slow to move on it. Oh, they checked the corner. Stewie's got a third! How does he manage it? Fortunate for him, there is no one behind him where he just checked, but they're so deep in the site, his angle's going to be thwarted. The first one, success. Knows the second there, but now they're all in the site. No way, Ethan! I thought he had nothing to work with. He gets all three. Kusta, though, and Ethan have made up for it. Excuse me. I was going to say CLG are still finding kills despite going down men early, but KNG's made up for that, rotating back into the AWP. In fact, closes the round himself.
This is a great position. Kusta will have no idea. Easy kill. Can he find more than one? He gets three. Amazing round from Volts here, doing damage all over the place. This could be an ace. That's fantastic.
We're going to do a boot camp in Europe, so we can fix a lot of mistakes playing from there because we have like a lot of time to practice.
He's going to do it, Chad. You can't stop him. He's going to get the one shot. Actually picks up the second kill. Goes for the spray. That's not always the best move, but that's the bomb down. Automatic finding the perfect kill. Skadoodle showing up as well. He gets the kill on Automatic, but I am not sure it's enough. They have... Oh, the shot coming through. Yes, it was.
I think the offline qualifier is kind of like the major already. There's a lot of really good teams in it. They've all played in majors before.
Is he going to try?
No way. Oh, he's got it as well. The flashbang, a lot of money, and he's one of the double offers, so that's actually pretty big. And now there's a piece of weaponry that can make this dicey. Another flashbang comes out, goes for the peak, he gets a second. But he is surrounded, and he's all alone. One more for KNG. He's got three, and he's going to get a fourth, and it's down into a one-on-one. What a heroic round from KNG.
Playing against Europeans is the best practice because it's the highest level of Counter-Strike right now. So I think we can do good on the closer qualifiers if we have the good preparation that we are planning to.
He's had to clutch this so many times, but he just barely gets the ball. He doesn't even need it. What a clutch from KNG.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's LDLC versus Dignitas. We had a few technical issues, but they have been resolved. The map will be Train. It's the second game of the day. Harry, are you excited?
I am very excited. You know, I think these two are probably my favourites to make it on out of Group B. So I'm curious to see how this tournament does pan out. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the mic breaking for one of the LDLC players
exciting.
I mean, it did slow us down a bit, but the excitement is still here. The hype is still built up.
Yep.
And we're going to be getting into this one with no more delays.
We are indeed. LDLC versus Dignitas on Train. I favour LDLC with Dignitas, a star-studded lineup. We'll see if they can rise to the occasion today. A new team looking to cause some damage in the European scene. It's going to be 4 sets of armour for them. Rubino, who'll be the utility player with the Molotov and flashbangs. No smoke. That is a rare purchase. That suggests it's an inside play, Harry, meaning for the post-plant situation, you've got that Molotov to bounce to the door and deny any sort of retake coming in. I'm going to assume that's what happens. Has to be quite a simple play, though, and quite a fast one. No smoke, I think you just have to overwhelm that inside area. But always the choice to fall back through Pop Dog. They do manage to get control of the Brown Halls here. In terms of the setup for LDLC, it's just Maniac by himself. We have mentioned recently he has been a great pickup for LDLC. He's going to have his work cut out for him, though, in the pistol. We'll see whether Dignitas, I should say, commit. As they get 3 players towards the upper platform, I think they're going all in.
Yeah, well, already Maniac going to be taking one to the dome. Has to fall on back, and because of LDLC being so pushed up over towards Ivy, the rotate's going to take a little while to come in. Alex, the first man on the scene, held back by that Molotov. We're going to see Dignitas go aggressive. This is something we've seen fall into favor a lot as of late, but they're going to get completely slaughtered in the process in the blink of an eye. It's all on Croman. He's in the 1v5. And I was hoping he was going to get Alex, but Alex just slips on by with 1 HP. So yeah, the defuse is going to be coming on in. They get the bomb plant, but that is it.
So you get into the bomb side, pretty much uncontested. You've headshot the defending player as well. He's fallen back. Bomb planted, you've pushed right up, you've got that Molotov to work with as well. But the CT's come in, you don't pick up a single kill. They had the right idea. Dignitas pushing right down to the connector, CT spawn, trying to stop the rotations, but just couldn't land the shots there. Overwhelmed by the USPs. 1-0 coming in, LDLC looking strong. A Maniac, I love that play by him. Gets taken under 15 HP, but goes back right to the ramp. Waits for him to push up, hits 2 kills, gets him in the back, and his teammates taking all the aggro away from him. So that's very well played. The bomb does go down. So we expect the AKs to come out in the third. All the teams flirting with the idea of buying them in the second, but you do need about 3 or 4 kills to make that a possibility, really. So just a light investment this time for Dignitas. They will be buying those rifles next round. PG-50s, take a nade to the face. That's Fox down to 60 HP. And this is the right call. Go towards inside. Very unlikely you get more than 1 kill, but if you do get that 1 kill, you have a chance of getting the bomb down, right? So this is the correct place to go. See what they can do. You can see Existence finding the first frag. Croman does crater, I think, but they get a couple of trades. Bombs planted. That's objective complete. They're not going to win the round, they know that. But a couple of kills, well, 1 kill, I should say. I got confused with the crater coming in, but the bomb down, that's great. And they might actually be able to sneak in an AWP here, you know. They can afford one, and that's nuts, considering it's the 3rd round. They can bring out AWPs on the T side. So LDLC now with a decision to make. They bring out an AWP themselves. Twanu, the main AWP for the team, will be fighting fire with fire. And I'm interested to see Dignitas. Like I said, I haven't watched him yet. So Fox, he seems to be the main AWP. Have you had a chance to watch him and know whether that's true at the moment?
Yeah, no, it is. And he looks fantastic at that. So let's see how this does work. I remember saying that to you just a minute ago that Croman's actually very good. Currently he's on -1, but that's only because of the suicide a moment ago.
Yeah.
So now he's going to be in with the opportunity. We're in with the opportunity here for Fox to try and open this one up. Mace will be able towards Ivy. 3 players here with him. And they're just spreading out, going to be grabbing some map control. They've got Jacob down through Pop. Also a player over in A main. Perfect to split out on towards A, if they'd like.
So, a chance now for the opportunity for Fox to open up the map. He's going to be towards Ivy. Smoked out. CTs, I would normally expect maybe a slightly faster play on this sort of round, trying to shut down and trying to find that first pick, but it's pretty standard on both sides of the server right now. Rubino holding towards main entrance. 3 players with the bomb at Ivy for Dignitas. Jacob just watching the Pop Dog area as well. So just waiting for any sort of initial CT utility to subside, and we'll see where they decide to go with this one eventually. I assume it'll be a play towards the end of Ivy, trying to get that first pick, smoking the left-hand side, and eventually split outside with the current setup. I don't know how technical Dignitas can be with such a new lineup, but we'll soon find out. Fox is glass cannon, just to note as well, so be very vulnerable. Alex finds that first kill at Pop Dog, so a nice positional play by him. 5 on 4, the commitment comes in towards Ivy.
Now leading out for the peak. Fox able to find the first out of his stone. Now Rubino comes in from behind, and Twano missing everything. Going to make this that much harder within the site. Existence, all that remains. Yeah, has got himself 2. He wants to try and get a little bit more. Keep these guys off the site. No armor on Fox. Going to make things difficult. He better sneak on by and pick up the bomb. Damage been done. Fox now peeking on wide. Going to go ahead and take the first Maniac's tagged down low, but working to part of the site. Rubino going to go ahead and behead him. 3K for him in that round, and Fox in with the double.
Yeah, nice work by Fox there after losing the first pick. LDLC could sense the execution coming in. We didn't see it from his POV, but he makes his way in towards Pop Dog, gets the initial advantage there. And as we said, the outer split comes in. Dignitas focusing towards that Ivy area. Fox finding 2 key frags there, and I thought Twano would be able to shut it down, but some key misses from him means they are managing to actually overwhelm Maniac in the 2 versus 1 situation. He only had the UMP. Couldn't really do much about it with low HP. He's going to be round number 4 now, and it's an eco. They've still got money to work with LDLC. They definitely could have forced into this one, but they have to lead now. Don't want to start getting themselves into economic disarray, so P250s and a Deagle as well for existence. So at this point, Dignitas, they're not fully aware this is going to be an eco. They just want to kind of slow things down. They've got all in towards inside. At this point, you have to operate pretty quickly, right? You have no presence on the map whatsoever. You have no idea what flank's coming in. So you want to make sure you just deploy simple smoke down lower, allow Fox to maybe explore that area, and then focusing on the upper ramp as well. There's the exploration, but Maniac does find the first frag. Quickly replied there by Rubino. That should be the round under control as he gets a double kill. And yeah, just pistols remaining now. Rubino doing very good work here in round number 4.
Yeah, Alex coming in from behind. Don't know if you noticed, but he's got the French flag, so they very quickly just stolen him from us as one of the only good UK players. One of say 3 or 4.
I think is fairer.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I'll give you that.
You don't want to have an army after you, Harry. Be careful.
No, I know.
But yeah, relevant I think is fair. But anyway, round number 5. And we'll see whether LDLC can bring a decent buy here. I'm expecting a double upset. That does come in indeed to Twano and Existence. Existence in Sorcerer was known as one of the absolute very best AWPers we had in the game. So he hasn't really had that reputation in CSGO. Maybe he's trying to rebrand himself, and we'll see whether he can live up to expectations here in round number 5. It was a single AWP for the T side. Fox inside by himself, straight towards lower ramp and opens things up, takes down Maniac. That's a great shot. Very assertive stuff there from Fox. Cracks open the B side. Now they have a chance to commit if they want to. He's actually watching towards Connector as well. He knows that's a key rotation point. Fox is convincing me so far. This is great. This is a Fox we used to know and love back in the day, and it seems like he's back.
I mean, yeah, time and time again, just cracking things open with the AWP. In the blink of an eye, it's all on Twano and Misto as they look to try and save into this one. 2-on-5, and Twano has had no luck with this AWP so far. I don't think I've seen him hit anything. Now they're going to go hunting. They don't want to allow LDLC to hang on to any of these weapons. No, they're both here. Misto going to be taking the aggressive duel. Does leave Twano to fend for himself. Able to find the first onto Croman. But now he's got to try and get out of there because right behind him, 3 players are going to come a knocking. Trying to shut him down as the lone CT player going to get hunted on down. 2 players. Jacob and Tensky about to round the corner, and they'll shut him out. That is going to be no one surviving there for LDLC. Only Croman dying for Dignitas as well. Going to mean that money continues to accrue over on this T side.
Yeah, I really like that play from Fox. He just seemed like he had an objective, a mission, lived up to it as well. Straight down the lower ramp, nailed the first shot. Watching Connector, second one hit as well. This is the shot that really kind of got me going, dodging the flashbangs, and there it is. Really key frag there. Dignitas take the lead, 3-2. Another eco now for LDLC. And yeah, like I said, Fox, like he had a spell and source as well. He was known as just a great AWP in the Portuguese teams primarily, and this is the kind of plays we used to expect from him, and it's like he's kind of found that form once again. Maybe he's just given a bit more freedom and respect within this lineup to actually do what he wants. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but in towards this one, Rubino's actually not too healthy. Doesn't matter because the rest of his team just going to step up in a big way and finish off everyone with the exception of Misto once again. Left in this 1v4. Rubino only on 4 HP is going to be the one left at the back here to try and hold off the push in through A main. So they might be able to find himself an AK and do some economic damage as he rounds the corner. No, might only have 4 HP, but he's still going to be tapping away. And that'll be a 4th now for Dignitas. So they take a bit of a commandeering lead early on. We haven't really seen LDLC in with much money thus far, and that's proving to be a bit of a reoccurring problem.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case right now, but starting to stabilize. It's not great. They haven't got a single kit, right? Double AWP setup comes out once again. It did get completely shut down before, single-handedly by Fox, but Twano in existence, that tag team partnership coming out once again. No armor. It's not such a massive deal on Train because obviously it's really long distance. AWP normally against other AWPers as well. Existence watching towards A main there. Twano will be positioned towards outside as well. So both AWPers in this part of the map. This is another default for Dignitas. We saw this in the first gun round. They lost the first pick towards popular position in the form of Jacob, but then they capitalized at Ivy. So Almost the exact same setup at the start of the round. Rubino known for holding key positions by himself, usually in his other lineups as well. When he's in, obviously, Dignitas as well. So went on to become North. Number 7 and CTs can't really do too much of this. They've still got a bit of utility, but I'd say they need to be a bit more proactive with the first frag. With the little grenades they have and no defuse kits, they can't allow that bomb to go down.
Dignitas going to be trying to grab control of Ivy, sending 3 players pushing on up. Once again, we going for this similar ace sort of split that we've seen them do time and time again. This time, Twano within the site going to start to mix things up early on. Throws the spanner in the works, picks the first one on the 10 skin. Here's the player rotating around, doesn't quite connect that shot, and that will allow Croman to pass on by. Trades going back and forth, ultimately going to leave it into the 2-on-3. They have got a player on the site as well in the form of Croman, who's going to be doing the damage. Fox now picking on out with the orb, suddenly turns the situation on its head as Existence goes down, leaving this now on Maniac in the 1v2. He's going to have to step up in a big way. Bomb isn't gone down just yet. Croman and Fox clearing all the angles necessary. I'm going to allow Maniac just to remain. And now he's going to start to worm his way into the site, sneaking on by. Bomb plant is going to be covered by Fox, so the bomb will be dropped out in the open with only 13 seconds left. Fox has to go for the frag, and he's going to get it. A 3K for Fox as he keeps Dignitas in that round. It was looking like Maniac perhaps did enough to bring that one back.
Yeah, Fox is looking sharp. I'm liking this. It's actually really cool to see him actually stepping up in huge rounds and delivering performances for his team. That's 5-2 now, and that's another double orb setup for LDLC. They were low on money in that round as well. Like we said, 2 glass cannons, no kits, so they'll be down the pistols once again. Dignitas, it's not too technical Counter-Strike, but there's good fundamentals there. They're focusing towards Ivy, trading frags. They lost the first couple of picks there, but recovered, and 1v1 comes in. Like you said, it looked like Maniac done just enough there, but a great job from Fox to finish it off. Pistol now, and Rubino, he's got that Mac 10. They're reading the situation quite nicely here. He's almost guaranteed a frag here. There's one. And there's a player in towards that pop dog position. I'm sure he'll pick him up as well. Maybe not. Could get caught out here, so Alex finds him. But quickly refrags towards inside they go. This is looking quite nice for Dignitas. I'm actually liking this lineup so far. What I've seen there, quite efficient. But Maniac with the AWP kill. It drops down from the upper ramp, and he's got a chance in this.
Yeah, looking like he could have just brought this one back well into the possibility for LDLC to win this one out. Rushing into the site. It's going to be Twano. He's playing it up close. He's going to have Misto here to help him out on that dig. It's going to be short-lived. His comrade will fall. Twano into the site, but no, Croman rounds us out, picks the frag up, and then he's going to go ahead and save the AWP as well. But a really nice attempt there from Maniac. I mean, he finds that one frag, and then luckily enough for him, the AWP drops down.
Drops into his hands.
Yeah, he got very lucky with that.
Yeah, it was a nice shot while I was actually on his screen. So the AWP drops down, AWP lands in his hands, gets a second kill as well. Had the option for a third, misses the shot narrowly. So, pause coming in. And it doesn't actually land. This is a bit of a problem. CTs were expecting a pause. I think, oh, they're playing. Okay. Either way, they wanted a pause. It didn't happen, so we're going to go with the round anyway. Round number 9, they were a bit late to the buy. It's another double AWP setup. This hasn't really been paying off, but this time it looks a bit better. Exists to find the first frag and a second as well. Drops the bomb, 5-on-3. First time LDC have had a real strong advantage here with no refrags coming in from Dignitas.
Yeah, good thing they didn't take that pause. Well, in this round, they've showed up in a big way, in particular Existence on the AWP. Rubino able to get one back in return. Now Fox trying to deal with Twano. It's Existence on 4, 1 off from the ace. Looking to try and get a third now for LDLC. Fox first getting to 10 with Twano. Going to go ahead and do the dance with him, and Existence to ace that one out. 5 frags for, you know, just a phenomenal ace site hold. And ultimately, I'm kind of glad that pause didn't come in, because I think they would have lost that momentum on the back of playing into that round.
That was quite special from Existence. Like I said, back in the day, he was known as one of the very best stoppers we had in the game, and I haven't really seen that in CSGO at all, but that was a kind of a sneak peek of what he used to be, and that was actually really nice. So it was a bit interesting considering the pause didn't come in, but like you said, it seemed to pay off for them. 6-3, LDLC pull one back. Existence gets the ace, only 2 kills given away as well, so it's a nice stable round. They can get a rebuy here. So we're just working out what's going on with this pause situation. From what I can see, there was no captain assigned, so they're just working out who that is. I think we're good to go. The confusion, it's all fine. Just look at the money for Dignitas as well. Fox had $15,000, so their money's absolutely fine. You can drop a few weapons and buy the AWP himself. Ends up with 7K, so there's still money in the bank. Round number 10. LDLC find their first gun round. Just to note as well, if you're just joining us, they won the pistol and the second round. But since then, they They did lose 6 rounds in a row. That's the first one they've picked up. And the reinvestments, 3 players down to 0. So need to be very careful. We need to avoid the reset. Need to start getting some momentum in their favor. Huge round for LDLC. This is a fast-placed round, though, from Dignitas. Straight out main. First frag in favor of Tensky.
Yeah, already Alex going down. No one there to trade things back, but within the site, it's going to be Misto stepping up. Able to get one. They do lose Tuano. Well, Misto now rotating on off. Waiting for the rest of his team to rotate in. Bomb will go down. Man advantage here for Dig. Yeah, I mean, with how they're positioned, it's not looking good, especially as they lose Misto. That's it. Both these players coming in from the same angle. The AWP and the M4 left. Existence tag so low, they will just look to try and hold on to this. And
nice change of pace. Like I said, nothing too technical from Dignitas so far. Just nice assertive plays. They've got good defaults, the 3 towards Ivy, 1 pop dog, 1 main. They seem to have good coordination with the team. This time, just completely mix it up. We know they've got the double orb set up there. Let's throw a few basic smokes, run out main entrance. We can find those first picks. Tensky certainly delivered in that respect. They overwhelm the bomb site, and now it's up to LDLC to try and save their remaining weapons here. The AWP, that's essential. Distance down to 22 HP. Maniac fighting in CT spawn as well. He takes down Jacob. 2 players should be surviving here. We do have a snake in the grass in form of Rubino. Tries a wallbang towards CT spawn. Existence, he won't be taking the duel. He'll just stay alive here. So we did say it's a reset round, but with the 2 saved weapons, I think he forced into this one. It might be another chance to pause here. So you've got an AK saved, an AWP. I think you go around this with... Ooh, I think I saw... Is that a secondary orb that was purchased? Presumably not. I didn't think that was possible. So the AK, I think UMPs to go with them and pistols. That makes sense. Well, it is a double orb setup. Okay, so one player must have had substantially more money than the rest of his team. So Tuano in existence, still with a strong buy here. Last chance to learn in terms of the money. And number 11. Back to the default for Dignitas. 3 Ivy, 1 main, 1 pop dog. Jacob that holds towards that pop dog position. Just showing a bit of presence there, doesn't take much damage, down to 83. Trying to bait out some utility. And he goes back towards inside, but missed you now. Towards that server position, needs to be very careful. Got the close range weaponry in the form of the UMP, but 3 players on the other side. Does he get flashed in? Does he try and get the first pick? It's a 1 and done position, and now he's getting Molotov as well. There it is, the flames start to hit him. He needs to be very careful here. Down to 28 HP, how is he still alive? Goes down eventually. It was either the AKs or the flames that found him, and it seems to be the latter here. 5 on 4 in favor of Dignitas.
yeah, the second he hits the 2 Molotovs, he knows he's
done for, isn't he?
Yeah. And, well, no one there to trade. Doesn't mean Ivy Control going to be going the way of Dignitas. We've seen them look monstrous with control of this area as they push on through. 3 players here as per usual. The rest of the team ready to try and make their way out. And they will be doing so. Alex, the one to try and spot them, does find some damage. Now going to re-peek into it. Goes and takes the first on a Chrome and does get that equalizer into the 4 and 4. Continues his reign of terror, and Tensky going to be caught in the drizzle. Jacob able to get one back in return. It will be the duo of Jacob and Rubino to try and clutch this one out. What's up the train, peeking on out. Maniac there to shut things down and actually gets himself a second. Long range tapping away with the AK. We'll be able to pick LDLC up their 4th round. That's now their 2nd in these rifles. And you know, we just got that question a minute ago about the low fragging IGL thing.
Yeah.
If you look right now, Existence currently top of the board, trying to haul this team in through this one.
I would never class Existence as one of those low fragging game leaders. I don't think he's ever been heralded as that. I think he's known as the tactical mastermind. He's a bit stubborn as to what he wants his game to play. I don't think there's ever been a problem with the way he kind of makes frags happen. I don't think that's ever been associated with him, really, especially in my book. I think he's a pretty decent player overall. Anyway, round number 12. Looks like a change of the default here for Dignitas. They'll be focusing towards inside this time. And we know they're going to be limited. They're only been a team for 2 months, right? So the tactic book's not going to be super deep here, but all 5 players towards inside. Like I said, if you do this kind of play, you have to operate quite quickly. You don't know who's pushing towards Ivy. Main entrance, you have to execute within the first 30 seconds. We'll be boosting up at the start. So having a look over the ratings there, and you can see it doesn't really get much for that. But they'll be falling back now. So be very careful as to what may be coming from Ivy. It's going to be Fox. Pulls back slightly. He's back on the AWP, of course. But for now, it's all quiet. We do have 2 players towards the side. That's Maniac in existence, of course, with the AWP.
And as that smoke comes out, now the push comes on in. Fox actually the one on the entry. Joined by Tensky, who's able to find one through the smoke. Maniac, the first man to go down. They're a little bit hesitant to try and push on him, but as Existence misses that shot, they gets railed down range. The bomb plug going to be pulling on through. Alex able to get one in return. They know where Existence is, and Alex is going to be the player up close, sneaking on in, pounces through, and Existence able to help on out best he can. Turns the man advantage on its head. LDLC looking to try and propel themselves forward, and Alex is in such a poor position, but the kills just keep getting stripped away from him. It will be Rubino, last man left, and he falls.
Decent round from LDLC. Bomb will get defused. Is that fine? Yeah, it's all good.
That's a perfect defuse bomb timer. Did you see it? Looked
Yeah.
very broken.
That's okay.
It's all good, though.
We'll see what happens. Dignitas towards the inside side there. They get the execution. Bomb goes down, but kill after kill coming in. No replies from Dignitas, and 4 players surviving now. That's what we needed from LDLC to get back into this game. Still very much a CT-sided affair here on training. It's starting to balance out these days, but I'd still say it's probably the most CT-sided map we have in the pool. So they're looking good. They've broken the money down for Dignitas now. 2 rounds in a row in their favor. So Deagles, PT-50s, a couple of sets of armor, no nades, and still running strong on that double orb setup, getting everything purchased now, LDLC. This is where they can really kind of get back into it. They can still win the half, so it's not the end of the world after having that spell of 6 rounds going in favor of Dignitas there. So here we go. Rubino trying to get a Deagle shot towards Ivy, but I guess it's guaranteed to be a kill. But Alex, he chimes in, takes it away, so Jacob drops first.
Yeah, these pistols yet to find any success. 2 players trying to make their way in through Ivy. Fox and Tensky. Number towards Pop Dog and A main respectively. Boost doesn't yield any results just yet, and Fox actually spotted there through the edge of the smoke by Alex. Gonna go ahead and pad those stats that much more into this eco. Stowe. Trying to do some damage. Tensky in the meantime has been allowed to work his way out from A main. Actually gonna be wreaking havoc in the backline. Goes ahead and takes a second. He knows there's a player coming in from behind in the form of Maniac. Turns his attention towards it, pivots on the spot, but then there's Alex in with 3, the hat trick, and then the AWP secured. Does mean LDLC soldier on forward with a 6.
Yeah, looking much better now. Now their money's established and they have all the utility, the double orbs. It's not like glass cannons and desperately trying to win rounds with our kits and stuff. Now they seem a lot more comfortable. We know LDLC can be good on train. So a rough start for them after winning the pistol. It was Dignitas that overwhelmed them with a really fast, assertive play from Fox. But now they seem to be looking a lot more comfortable. It's round number 14. They're closing sectors up the first half here. But it's joining us. It's the best of 1. It's the second game of Group B here at the Europe Minor. And this is where the CTs change the pace, it looks like. We've got Mr. and Twanu going towards the server position. One will be boosted up, presumably. Maybe with AWP, that's Twanu. As he actually boosted up Mr. looking for the first pick. He's got the AK-47. And Tensky might just walk into his crosshair. I think it's almost certain. Does it happen? Not quite. Has to pull back as the smoke goes down.
There you go, Tensky. Life expectancy wasn't looking too great. It's going to be the first man to go down here for Dignitas, and it will go untraded. There's now Fox on this AWP, backed up by Jacob. Going to try and secure something over here towards B. Croman actually now going to be coming on in to try and join. It's Rubino who snuck out towards A main. Going to try and make some magic happen out here towards A, prevent these rotates coming on in. And actually, never mind that. Dignitas can then look to double back and make their way out through Pop Dog. There's going to be 50 seconds left, plenty of time. Rubino going to open things up. That first frag on Alex now just going to signal the approach from the rest of Dignitas, and Fox with the AWP able to go ahead and chime in with 2 of his own. They also spot out Twano over towards Old Hell. He hits the deck, leaving this all on Maniac. 1v4. And at this point, the save should really just be called in.
Well, yeah, Maniac with the M4A4. The thing is, having a look at the money, it's actually getting pretty modest for them. They've won the last 3 rounds in a row, but lost 2 players in the previous round of all the investment with the grenades and stuff. Yeah, he probably has to save this. Doesn't really have the chance to limit Dignitas to the final round. So he will just be saving the weapon here, right back in the vending machines room by T-Spawn. So he will be surviving. He's got the incendiary and 2 flashbangs as well, the defuse kit. So lost to save. Dignitas will certainly be hunting for him, but doesn't look like they'll fully commit. Dignitas focusing towards outside this time. Rubino stepping up with 2 frags. Same story for Fox as well. Have a look at the scoreboard quickly. Rubino with 14 kills in total. Tensky and Fox not far behind with 11 and 12 respectively. Round number 15, LDLC. Certainly can buy into this one with the saved weapon. Got tons of cash remaining. One for Twanu. I don't think they have the double orb set up here. They have to kind of give it on one player with the UMP. But Dignitas looking for 9-6, and I like their gameplay overall. They had a nice change of pace. They did good defaults, Dignitas, and like they're throwing Spanner into works every now and then with that Fox play towards lower ramp, and then the outside rushes as well. Got some set pieces towards inside, but LDLC have defended them off at times as well. So still anyone's game at this point, but that's a huge result for Dignitas, at least at this point, winning the first half. That's the first step. But Twanu this time, he manages to get the first pick of the upper ramp, but Rubino strikes back outside.
He's going to be able to get one return. Doesn't expect the second, but still pivoting back and forth. Goes ahead and gets Jacob. Looking to try and get a little bit more work done as Rubino has snuck on by outside and looking to go for the backstab. 2 players within earshot. He spots out the first, but no, Misto. He suspects Now it all falls onto the shoulders of Croman. His teammates. Vision is digging into the back of him. That weight might be too much to bear as Maniac will shut him down and close this round out.
Yes.
And that is going to be a 7-8 half. Dignitas, I mean, they've got that 1 round advantage, but I mean, at 8 rounds on the T side, nothing you can be too disappointed with.
No, absolutely. But it doesn't really mean anything in the kind of bigger picture right now.
Right.
I don't know enough about Dignitas to say that's a really sick half for them. Their CT setup, lose the pistol, they could have the exact same problems LDLC can. They're a decent train team, we know that. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Yeah, sure. If you told Dignitas going into this game, you can win the T half, you can have 8-7. They'd probably take that all day long. So they'll be happy with it, but LDLC know this isn't over by any stretch of the imagination. Pistol, especially in best of 1, very important in the second half. It'll be 4 sets of armor for LDLC. Twanu with the 1 smoke, 2 flashbangs. We normally discuss that. Almost every team likes to focus towards inside. You're guaranteed that trade frag, and most of the time you get the bomb down, if not win the round. So that 1 smoke means Twanu will be deploying a flashbang towards inside. We go as mentioned. It's up to the CT to try and find the first frag. Can Dignitas do anything about this?
They played this very, very passively. Bomb going to be going down, and now we see LDLC trying to take the aggressive engagements for being able to find the first and the second. Misto going to go down as he faces the similar fate of Maniac. Pushing on through the smoke, it's going to be existence. He realizes his mistake, but it's too little too late as Croman decapitates him, and that pistol round was clean from Dignitas, and LDLC leaving us wanting a little bit there with that aggression.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what happened in the first half pistol, if you remember. LDLC did the exact same strat, didn't find a single kill after getting the bomb down. That's like a mirror. That's kind of funny. So the CTs, once again, keeping all 5 players alive. Dignitas now looking quite promising as they go into the second round. Bomb planted, though. Exact same procedure as we saw before. And like I said, you do have the option to force fire this second round, but without the kills, you normally need 3 or 4 kills to justify that to get a bit of extra utility, maybe 1 AK chucked in the mix just about, but that doesn't happen. So it's going to be a full eco. AK's in the third. We did see Dignitas in their first half get the bomb down in the second round as well, that inside play. I'd assume it's more of the same. You get 1 flashbang, flash towards the lower ramp, see if you can force a trade and maybe get that bomb planted. That's going to be the objective. So all 5 players at least heading towards inside. It'll be the exact same. This is kind of funny. They got 2 mirror rounds right now. They get the bomb planted. That just turns this game on its head because they have such a strong buy and they can get the orb on their third round as well, like Dignitas did.
Yeah, I mean, with Tensky playing it so passively, you should think that they should be able to get this bomb down, right? I mean, B-bomb site is so good about that on train, is it's one that you can just duck into on the T side to get the bomb plant. Only difference maker could be Jacob if he's hot on their heels enough on his way up through pop, or if Tensky annihilates them on the push, which he's able to find the first. The nade could deny the plant, and it will. There we go. Alex to be blowing into little British chunks. Now Jacob coming in from behind, goes in and mops them both up. The bomb plant gets denied, and they get completely wiped out. Fantastic stuff there from Dignitas to go ahead and deny that plant.
So yeah, sure, it's only against a full eco, but you're absolutely right. That's a massive impact in terms of the bigger picture this round, because they get that bomb down, they can bring out the orbs on the T side very early on, and that would have been a great asset to them going forward. But that touchdown grenade denies it, and now Dignitas in a commanding position going forward. Yes, the AKs come out. Still a decent buy overall, but Mistu's down to the Galil, 4 AKs around him, existence with just 1 HE as well. So it's not the best of buys, and Dignitas know that. They're trying to keep their money above water as well. It's going to be, okay, so 3 M4s, a Famous, and we'll see whether they can maybe get the first pick. Looking a little bit aggressive towards Ivy, and 1 player's boosted up. That's Croman. That's impressed me, I have to say. He's looking pretty decent, but there's the first frag for him. Takes down Mistu, and the rest of the LDLC side ready to go in, towards the inside area. So they've got the bomb. Mistu's gone down, and now they probably have to fully commit. Tensky's by himself, so they can find the refrag here. That'd be great. Jacobs towards Pop Dog. Tensky. Just the Famous as well. Can he rise to the occasion now?
Okay, they send everyone in. Now towards uppers. I'm going to be pushing on through, and we'll be allowed pretty disrupted. Rubino on the rotate already. I'm going to go ahead and pick off existence. Tensky going to get some work done in the meantime, but Maniac trading things back does turn this into a bit more of an advantageous position. Saying that Fox on the entry, going to go ahead and eliminate him. And now it's Maniac in the afterplant. 1v4 players circling him like moths to a flame, and Jacob with the backstab. He will go down. Defuse to come in, and Dignitas now with their 11th.
3-0 comes in, so bomb plant for LDLC in the pistol does not equate to a round victory in the third. They'll have to take an eco here. Partial buy probably. They'll have 4-stage loss bonus if they do lose this one, so they'll still be fine. So take themselves down to maybe like the $1,800 mark. We'll see how much they invest into this. Maybe a pause at this stage as well. Existence loves a pause. So you are seeing the pistols come out, some body armor as well. Smoke for Existence, and the same story for Alex as well. Mistu and Twanu are the underachievers so far for LDLC. Twanu, the AWP, we're expecting to do better this. A very AWP-centric map train. He's on 6 of 13 right now, so hasn't really delivered the performance we're looking for so far. 11-7, take on to Twanu. PT50s all round and see whether they can get anything done here. 4 players towards Ivy. Croman, though, not quite ready for that. Gets 1 kill, but taken down.
Yeah, now Fox is having to pivot back and forth, but it doesn't matter because he gets himself 3, aligns them up and knocks them down like big fleshy dominoes, and now it's all on Alex. 1v4. Has got himself the M4 to play with, but that is going to be it. There's 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Bomb dropped over towards Ivy. Fox is going to be sitting on top of that. While Alex, doubling around, does actually spy him out and just taps away. Drops him out the equation. Now has to try and contend with Jacob at range, and the AK will prevail on Jacob. Dignitas get themselves at 12. They lose a couple of players, though. It's going to keep the economy modest at least.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where the money sits for Dignitas right now. We've got 7K on Rubino and 9K for Jacob. So you have 3 players, though, like kind of at the 3K mark. And here's the replay from Fox. Nice snappy aim on this Ivy position. 3 kills for him. Not looking too bad at all today. 17 kills, 9 deaths for him. We have another full buy for LDLC. Getting to the danger zone, though. They have yet to pick up a round here in the second half. 4-0. All for Twanu. And loses 13-7. That's quite a scary scoreline, but Twanu finds that first pick. Takes down Fox. He wanted to get aggressive in that Ivy position, but there we go. We have got Croman hiding behind the server. Do they anticipate this? I'm not so sure. This could be interesting.
Yeah, he's just going to wait with bated breath, and those flashes completely wreck Twano. He now likes to push on up. I don't think he's expecting Croman to be here.
Oh, they're falling back. He's going to hear this. Does he go for it, Croman? Including Brave. Well, Maniac certainly is. He's inside. Finding 2 frags. It's going to be Rubino fighting back here. I think that's the round done because Croman, he's by himself and didn't capitalize on the chance to find frags towards that Ivy position, but finds the AWP. He said the money wasn't amazing. Yes, they got 2 players of about 8K between them, well, on each player, and then 3 of them struggling. So if you can save the AWP, that's great. Nice play, though. It was the shutdown aggression from Ivy. It was Dignitas trying to change the pace a little bit. Fox, saw in the first half, assertive AWPing. He's just calling at the beginning of the round. I want to try and get a pick towards Ivy. He pushes out, but Twanu's ready and waiting for him, takes him down, and at that point, find a frag outside, and then lots of aggression towards Inner. Maniac leading the charge there. He finds 2 kills in total. Round over. Croman just to save his AWP. So LDLC find their first round of the second half here. Croman looking like he'll survive. He has got a player nearby to him. That's Twanu, but he's also holding on to his AWP.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw that there, Fox was entirely caught off guard by the change of pace coming in from LDLC. I mean, usually we see them like to take things a little bit more slowly. He wasn't ready for Twano to be there. And even when you look at it, I think the idea was, you know, you had Croman there to trade things out if Fox did die on the initial peak, but he was lagging behind by just a couple of seconds, and it meant he ended up trapped behind server for the entire round. So, yeah, LDLC going to be able to get that first rifle. Now they've got the AWP for Twano.
Yeah, they managed to keep 4 players alive in that round as well, just to note. So, yeah, sure, the reset's still a potential, but it's not as bad as it could be for LDLC here. So they find 1 round of return. Still a decent buy for Dignitas. Like we said, that saved AWP is great. Goes in the hands of Fox. He definitely seems to mainly main AWP for this team. This round, Tensky alone towards inside. Existence also alone at Ivy. Croman once again towards that Ivy position. Jacob finds the first frag, takes down Maniac. They've got the early advantage now. The CTs can fall back slightly now. Once you get the advantage early on a round like this, and even more so, you don't need to go committing frags. Just hold back, have the crossfires, just go for trades at this point.
Yeah, Existence over here in Ivy. Oh, he's going to be tagged as well. Fox just hitting these shots with the AWP. Only tagged for 29. He knows he came off lucky in that engagement, so he's just going to look to try and rejoin now with Twano. Bomb going to be on the back of Misto over here towards Pop Dog. Looking like perhaps they want to try and make some magic happen out towards A. Going to go ahead and split up though. Have 1 player in the form of Existence look to try and make his way out through A main. Watch for any early aggression. Then they send Twano down here towards Ivy. They know that Fox was there with the AWP, so I imagine trying to contend with him potentially on this peak. Smoking off Croman. Fox going to be held back by that Molotov as well. Does keep his attention fixated though on A main in the meantime. Croman actually just going to go ahead and peek straight up through the smoke. Catches Twano off guard. Down goes Existence. The bomb on the back of Misto. Some serious work to do. 25 seconds left in the 1v4. He's got himself 1, but it's Tensky pushed up and shut this whole thing down. Knife out, unprepared. And Misto eliminated. 13-8 now. Dignitas looking fantastic in this CT half.
Yeah, and that is the reset. It's not as harsh as it possibly could be. Excuse me. It's going to be a pause there, I was going to say. This has to be a pause. It's pick your poison time. Do you go for the eco or the partial buy at this point? It's 13-8. You take the eco. Dignitas almost certain to get 14 rounds on the board in this best of one. So, Existence has 5k. Similar story for Mister as well. We've got 3 players hovering around the 2.5k mark. So, they need to decide, do we go for this one, go all in, potentially throw the game at that point, or do we take the eco and allow Dignitas to get one step closer to the victory? I would say at this point, with only $1,900 coming in next round, I think it's fine just to do a little partial buy this time. Then everyone will have AKs and you have an AWP available as well. Try and get the bomb down this round and allow Dignitas to get a step closer. I don't think the force buy is the right call at this point, but there's no real right answer, Harry. It's just said, what do you feel like doing? What do you think is going to work out for you? They've opted for the force buy. 3 AKs and a Tech 9 as well. So it's still a relatively good buy, you know, but they don't have the AWP. So 2 pistols, 3 AKs. We'll see what they can bring to the table here. This is going to be one of those rounds you lose this. This is pretty much the game.
Yeah, so the gravity in this scenario is pivotal and immense. LDLC, probably their most important round thus far. Going to go charging it out into the site, and already they're going to get put to bed. Alex and Tuano both go down. Jacob going to be pushed up aggressive behind E-Box. Will suffer as a result. Pays for that aggression with his life. The D got Existence trying to chime in with one. Needs to cross on out and pick the bomb up, which they do manage to get. Almost all the utility, actually all the utility used now for the side of LDLC as they try to head into this one dry. Maniac able to drop out Fox, but there's players already rotating around. Rabino now going to be holding up close, finds the first, pivots round, and Existence going to hit the deck as well. Rabino stepping up in a big way, might have just pulled them through. It's all on Maniac, but no, Croman shuts him down.
Yeah, and that's why I said if they lose that round, that could be the game. It's 14-8 now. They've got 2k per player. I think they have to force into this again. It's another real difficult moment for them. They went for that really fast approach with the AKs, but shut down, like we said. CT's going to have such an advantage. They've got the orbs up there, they've got all the utility, so it's LDLC are running through smokes, and then Rubino steps up as well. It was an interesting situation. He finds 2 quick kills, and here we go. Force buy comes in. 3 Tech 9s, PT50, Maniac with no armor, and then a Galil for Existence. I think Maniac must have dropped the Galil, and they're hoping that Existence go absolutely wild here. He's top fragging at the moment, but it's looking pretty desperate now for the French side. Number 23, Dignitas. Croman established in the inside area. He's got the AWP on the upper platform. That's a very strong position to be in. Smoke coming towards outside. Let's see if they can get anything done here. Good adjustments to the CTs on top of the trains. Get that first kill. I think that's going to be pretty much it. And Misty does reply, so there's a chance here now.
And a guy, second rifle to try and play with. Fox holding the close angle. We're going to get punished for this potentially, but no. Raining Death in up close. Doesn't fear the Tech 9s as they do go in aggressive. He switches things out of the PT50. He's going to fall to Tuano. The trade comes in. The bomb has gone down, and Misto 1v2, working his way in a connector. Chroma going to be holding the angle. Has that secondary AWP, but it's going to fall. Now it's just Rubino.
Full defuse. Do it.
He's just going to go and stick it. Misto playing things perhaps too passively, only just now peeking on out. Realizes it far too late. The defuse comes in, and he goes down at the end.
Yeah, that's just really nice for Rubino. That's the right call to make. Go for that full defuse. That the gravity of the situation is right now. If he goes to the face and tries to take him down, it's very likely he's going for that fake defuse, and you can just completely punish him for it. So he knows that. So hopes that Rubino fakes it out, but ice cold. Rubino takes it and finds match point for Dignitas. That's really cool stuff from him. Tactical pause. So they get the bomb down. Third stage loss bonus as well. They got about just over 3.5k per player, I would say, average, but we'll see what they can bring to the table here. It's not looking good. On the T side, they need 7 rounds in a row just to force overtime. Dignitas looking very comfortable at this point. So another tactical pause. I think this is the last one for LDLC as well. Maybe they have one more. I'm not sure, but obviously we'll be buying. And we'll get into round number 24. Dignitas, I have to say, I'm actually quite impressed with them as a package. They look like they've... Croman especially, like he seems to gel quite nicely. He's only got 10 frags, right? But he's doing his job. He's holding the forward at Ivy, finding a couple of frags here or there. He's in the right positions, not giving anything away, not doing anything too dangerous. Fox seems to be kind of reinvigorated with the AWP almost. Like he looked great on the T side, CD side as well, hitting shots. He's on 20 frags right now. Rubino, still a great player, it seems as well. 23 kills for him. So LDLC, a bit out of their depth at the moment. UMP, Tech 9, 3 AKs. It's buys available, but this feels like it's coming to its logical conclusion.
And a last-ditch attempt to try and find a couple of rounds. LDLC, 3 players down towards Ivy, mimicking the play that we saw Dignitas up to do in their T side. They also have Alex waiting out towards a main. Maniac down through pop, so they can go for the split out on towards the A-bomb side. But Dignitas, they've got 4 players here already lying in wait. 2 of them going to be over towards Ivy. Hensky and Croman should be in a good spot to try and deal with this potential push. That Molotov going to go ahead and deny access for LDLC in through Ivy just yet. And you can already see, I mean, that Molotov alone and the fact there's the presence of players here has caused that bomb to rotate away. As now they look like they might even try changing site altogether.
Well, the last potential play here. Fox, oh, he's in a really interesting position. How does he get away with that? The no-scope to find the first kill. Can't get a second, though. He got a bit carried away at that point. Alex goes down outside. It's going to be an inside play, 3 versus 2 in favor of Dignitas here. Bomb will be planted up to Twano with the AWP towards Connector. He has to be aggressive. He needs to find the first pin. He needs something going in their favor. Chroma's coming from the upper ramp. Can LDLC do this? And maybe take us to overtime. It'll take 7 rounds in a row. This is the first step of a very long journey.
There you go. Twano, he's going to be holding the flank with the AWP. Misto playing things up close, and Chrome just going to go ahead and bypass him altogether. Now, this could prove to be very bad. I mean, if he peeks in, he can help deal with Twano. Misto going to go down within the site. And Tensky, okay, very, very quick flick to go ahead and drop out Twano. Dignitas, they're going to go ahead and take this map 16-8 as they win this one out. Very convincingly, I would say. And in all honesty, I mean, I was kind of waiting to see just to make sure if the performance they have here was as good as what they have shown us thus far and a lot of other stuff. But I think, you know, Dignitas could be one of the contenders, in my opinion, at least, for the top spot here. Along with the likes of, for example, Big over in Group A.
Yeah, disappointing from LDLC, but let's not take anything away from Dignitas. I have not watched them before this tournament, but I'm a believer. That was a real nice game from them. They look confident across the board. It's a nice little package. The roles seem to be defined. The default's not too flashy, but it's working out for them. They're looking like they know what the game plan is. They've got a few set pieces to chuck into the mix as well. Great aim across the board. Jacob seems to be hitting shots. And then this Croman kid I've never heard of, but he's actually pretty decent as well. Just doing his role, doing what has to be done. And I have to say as well, Fox, you can criticize him for his previous performances across the years, but that was really dominant from him. He looks like he's actually quite happy to be back on that main All-Pro. He's not just holding lines and just finding shots here and there. He's actually taking matters into his own hands and winning 100%. Rounds by just going a lower ramp towards outside, hitting shots and aggressive CT stuff as well. So that's nice to see him kind of revigorated and kind of maybe finding confidence once again within this team that looks like they trust him right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you kind of have to say for a team that hasn't really been, at least in its current form, together all that long. I think they gel together really quite well. But to discuss that further, I think we're going to go ahead and toss it over to the analyst desk.
Yes, thanks very much, Harry. We are back at the analyst desk after a thoroughly professional performance from Team Dignitas as they win the opening match in Group B for them. They'll move on to play Penta. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Back with Sanakist and Thorin to get their thoughts. Thorin, firstly, I've said professional. I think quite bland performance, but it was perfect in a way, wasn't it? They didn't do anything flashy, didn't do anything crazy, just delivered what they needed to do.
Yeah, and they really actually outperformed the LDLC players man for man. Like, the fragging was massively on the side of Dignitas here. I mean, it was actually Existence was putting up a lot of the kills for LDLC, which is not the way it should be, you know. Like, Twano, he's the primary AWPer of that team. He's the player who's played his whole career with the AWP, and he's non-existent on the CT side. Meanwhile, on the other end of the equation, Fox had some good AWP kills. Actually, Jacob in the second half came alive. Yeah,
it was pretty quiet in the first half. I was going to make that point because I know Henry sort of said he had some good kills, but 4 kills in the first half. I was like, whoa, Jacob needs to step up. And then second half, he came alive.
Yeah, and so for LDLC, like, the problem is you were banking on the notion that they're going to have this really strong T side, which obviously never occurred whatsoever. And then on CT side, that's generally it's a skill side. You know, it's based on where you guys play when they're in those one-on-ones, etc. And they were pretty poor overall.
Yeah, it's kind of why I alluded at the start of this that if the execution was poor, that they would lose this to Dignitas, because it's like you say, man for man, Dignitas is going to win every single duel, especially when guys like Fox are on. It's the team strategy, like the sort of all-for-one, get the smokes down, get the bomb planted, get post plants as fast as possible, isolate players, that was going to win them this game. And even that seemed a little bit off on the LDLC side. So, yeah, I'm impressed overall. By the way, you talk about skill side on CT, and you talk about Jacob. He came alive when they switched over, and it does go to show that they have confidence that they were going to win the duels, because he was rotating like Snacks-esque up through the ladder as soon as they hit the inner sight, which a lot of people won't do because they're worried about someone watching the ladder. They aren't sure they have all the information. He was just going every time, and he'd show up as soon as the bomb was down and kill 2 people on the site pretty much every single time. So
and the
really
same with Rubinho as well. We were talking about it when we were watching him at the same time, because he pushed at one point. We were just like, whoa, what's he doing here? This looks kind of risky. And then, no, absolutely fine. Yeah,
they had 2 smokes down. His teammates are backing off, and he's like, I'll just push E-Box. Gets behind them. They had no idea he would push that. Like, it was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So good performance from Dignitas. Disappointing from LDLC, especially because we talked about the difference between the two man for man. Maybe Dignitas have the strength and the experience, but LDLC should have the strategical advantage. That didn't pan out either.
No, I mean, obviously, they were already in a hole after the first half. You know, they didn't have a strong enough performance there. But, yeah, here's the thing. They got a lot of plants. They got out onto the sites, you know. But beyond that, there was not a lot of coordination between the players. You know, they didn't have great crossfires. Like, oftentimes, they would just hold the default halfway into the site and wait for people to come in. So that's almost like welcoming duels at that point in time, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I'd expect more from Existence with his experience, but I feel like you see that a lot in the sort of the 2-2 teams where they put so much emphasis on how to open up a site that once the bomb's down, they actually don't have a plan. A lot of time, they don't have we're planning default because we want you to be here and I'll play this angle so I can get the information, or, you know, we want to go in with this much time. You don't need to push past Sandwich. You just stay at Sandwich, so I'll go in alone, plant the bomb. If I die, okay, maybe then we're in trouble. But if I get it, you're already in a position. A lot of them just go Hail Mary, and then as soon as it's out, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
and it's really disorganized.
It's been a theme, isn't it, over the last couple of days? And actually, if you look at the Americas minor and the Asia minor as well, in particular, it's been a theme that T-side has been a real struggle for some of the teams at this level, and it is a marked difference, isn't it, between these and the guys that are playing in a major?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, to be fair, actually, Sonny kind of touched on it quite well in saying that, you know, even though we're talking different languages, the fact that once you play 2 or 3 weeks together, you actually talk less. And I think that's true at the top level. When you're first starting, you should be communicating everything. Like, you should be naming everything. But eventually it gets to a point where less is more. And the less you communicate, because you all know what you should be doing, the less disorganized it gets. And they all know their role. And a lot of times, the 2-2 guys just don't have that.
I just had this vision in my head of when we first started playing mixes, and I was like, guys, there's a green plant down by this wall. It's awesome. You know, what are you talking about? Play the game. You know? Too much
that's
going
the
on.
thing. When people talk about the culture aspect, they also don't just mean like, you know, familiarity with the language. They also mean like when you play within a certain scene, everyone knows what this spot is, what that spot is. It's also that aspect. So actually within teams, you have that as well. You know, over time, you hope that becomes a shorthand for the 2 guys who play a site, and then the 2 guys who are the entry guys. They don't have to communicate everything. That's an artificial way to build that up, and the scaffold you're supposed to take away, you know.
Yeah, and usually
that's why it's disappointing that LDLC was kind of a bit poor here.
And usually a rude word of some kind is used for spots within teams, isn't it?
It certainly seems so.
Yeah.
Right, let's do the MVP. It is Rubinho for this one. Had a fantastic game. 25 kills, 10 deaths, 5.43 impact rating, 7 retakes in there as well, 3 trades, 2 openings, and a clutch, and a partridge in a pear tree as well. Good game from Rubinho, as we've come to expect from the man with plenty of experience. And I'm pleased to say that he can join us right now as well, because we're going to grab a quick interview with the man himself. Ruben, how you doing?
I'm good, Good.
Good? You must be happy after that. It was a good performance.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah?
We expected to win versus LDLC, to be honest. We think we are a better team individually. We are not scared to take any duels versus them.
Yep, that noticed.
The veto was a bit weird, I think, because I think they didn't expect us to ban overpass. We played them really close in the minor qualification last time.
Yep.
So we banned that one, and they, I don't know, I think they got shocked and just banned Inferno. Got to train, and we knew that they were really terrible at train. We've been watching their statistic, and they were not really good on train. And we knew that, and we just played confident.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine if once you got trained, you were kind of like, wow, we didn't expect to get trained.
No, we didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, okay, that's good. How are you developing as a team? Because it has been a fairly short amount of time, isn't it, since you've all been together, and you've made a couple of changes recently again as well. And you've struggled a little bit through the open qualifiers. Talk to me about what improvements you've made as a team over the last couple of months.
Well, in the start, it was, of course, hard. I've never talked English in a team before, so that's only JKM and Fox. So it was hard in the start, of course. I think we're developing pretty fast. In some ways, we, of course, have a lot to fix. I'm an Ingame leader, never been that before, so it's fun. We try to improve as much as we can, and I'm confident that if we play good individually, we can probably qualify here.
Okay, you've had the easy questions, Ruben. Now we've got Thorin and Sanakist here, so what questions have you got for him?
Well, I mean, one thing people might be surprised to know is that you did take over this in-game leader role. You know, you've been the entry fragger early in this team. You used to be known as more the supportive player over in the Dignitas North days. So is that tough? Is it something that are you still adapting to it? Do you think you've got the hang of it now?
Of course, it's something I need to adapt on because I was support in North. First, I was entry here, and I found out that entry is not my best position to be at. In-game leading was, of course, something I could like. When I played in North, I could say what I think is the best to do, of course. So I was kind of like helping, but not in the same way. You have all responsibility when you are an in-game leader, and I think it's really hard sometimes because you can't focus so much on yourself individually. But I'm trying to find out a way that it fits for my team and for myself, and it seems like it's helping me right now at least.
Oh, that's my turn. That's my cue. I guess for me, obviously, you came out of the North lineup after some decent success with them. They actually had their most successful result, Epicenter, when you were still part of that team. You had to adapt pretty quick. This lineup came out of nowhere, and you've actually picked up a new guy, Corman, who's pretty unknown. How well in sort of the Norwegian scene has he been known before, and how long has he been on people's radar?
Well, everyone knows who he is in Norway, of course, but I was talking with somebody, and they told me that maybe he wasn't ready yet for like the next step on events and such. So he played in Norse with Seves, actually, Norwegian lineup. When we found out that we wanted to change players, we felt that we want to give Croman a possibility to get to these events and play with us. And I think he's adapting really well. He's taking criticism in a good way, so he's improving a lot. The mistakes he does, he's not doing that a lot anymore. So I think he will just continue growing and be better.
Does that feel like more of a pressure on you, though, where you're a new in-game leader and now you have a new player at the top level that you kind of have to push into a role, or is he kind of pretty comfortable already where he's playing?
I think he's pretty comfortable in how he's playing right now, actually. Of course, we need to adjust some things and we need to find out how we can play even better, but right now it seems pretty decent, fine.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, it's interesting.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. One more game to go before you can make the semi-finals. Penta next. Is that going to be a straightforward game?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't. I'm not afraid of anyone here. Like the teams are good. They know how to shoot, but we can't be afraid of anyone if we want to win. So we just hope we can win, and I think we can win if we just play as we did this time, and that's it.
All right, good stuff. Good luck in your next game. Well played in the first one today.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. That's Ravinia, winner with Dignitas in their opening match in Group B. They'll go through to play Penta in the next matchup. We'll wrap up things on that particular note as well. LDLC will now drop down and play iGame. That's not an easy game to look forward to, is it?
No, and actually a point that we forgot to bring up in the post game is what Rabino referred to there, which is like I told you, the stats on train were not good for LDLC. Yeah. So that was actually, I mean, he says he thinks they panicked in the veto. That was certainly a gamble they took there, and you hope, you build it up that way. Well, you hope there's a plan in mind here, and that's why they've done it. So I feel like that alone is worrying because when you go down now, we know iGame's got a couple of maps they like to play. So if you go ahead and let them play those ones, one of them including that is Train, by the way, then now you're opening the door to potentially go out last place.
Yeah, which should be unthinkable for this team.
It certainly should be, especially because for this team, it's going to be best of threes, etc. That's where they should be suited. If you're a team that's got structure, you know how you play off rhythm, then you can say, okay, we're not just living and dying by the star player. That's where you should be able to at least get some map wins and be in good position.
I agree, but it is almost concerning. I know there's 3 bans, so the other team could almost counter-ban you by taking out your maps.
Well, this is going to be the best of 3.
Yeah, no,
so you get one ban.
So this is but you get one. It's ban then pick, then ban then pick. But my point is, looking at a best of 1, if you have depth in a best of 3, you would think you're going to get to a map that you're good on. So unless Dignitas actually just counter-banned them and took out their maps, but it suggests to me that the depth isn't there, right? The best of 1, you should always have one map that you can get the veto to that you look really good on. And the fact that went to Train says that depth could actually be a bit of an issue. So if they do a best of 3 in the decider and Train comes out, maybe map 2, I would look at trying to pick it, getting something in there that they're not going to be comfortable on early.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Thanks very much, gents. We're headed off for a quick break. When we come back, of course, our final match of the best of 1s is upon us. It is Penta versus Dignitas, the 2 strongest teams so far in Group B. Go head-to-head for a place in the semi-finals of the upper bracket. We'll see you soon.